England vs Argentina World Cup semi-final declared highest risk match as massive security operation planned in Atlanta. The upcoming FIFA World Cup semi-final between England and Argentina has been classified as the highest risk fixture of the tournament, prompting an extensive security operation involving the FBI, FIFA officials, and local law enforcement agencies. Now it's time to break down every angle of this story in our AI video explainer.
Welcome to this explainer. Today, we are diving deep into the anatomy of what is shaping up to be an absolutely monumental event. I'm talking about the upcoming World Cup semifinal between England and Argentina, going down at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. Now look, I need to be clear right out of the gate. We are not just looking at a standard football match today, not even close. We are looking at a hyper-focused event where decades of intense history, incredibly complex international geopolitics, and a massive, literally unprecedented security apparatus are all converging on one single pitch. It is kind of like a giant puzzle, and the pieces are snapping together in real time. So in this explainer, we're going to use the hard data, the historical context, and the official security reports to understand exactly why this specific fixture has literally everyone, from the die-hard fans in the streets to the FBI, on high alert, and exactly how the host city is preparing for it all. To really wrap our heads around the sheer scale of what we're dealing with here, we have to start with this one simple fact. Authorities have officially designated this specific fixture as the #1 highest risk game of the entire tournament. #1. Out of all the matches, all the rivalries, this is the one that has the red lights flashing. Now, you might be wondering, what does that actually mean? Well, this designation isn't just a label. It triggers an automatic, massive cascade of logistical and security responses behind the scenes. They aren't just anticipating a passionate, loud crowd. They are actively, methodically preparing for one of the most closely monitored sporting events of the entire competition. The sheer volume of thousands upon thousands of supporters from both nations descending on Atlanta all at once has elevated the threat matrix for local and federal authorities to the absolute highest tier. It's an all-hands-on-deck situation, for sure. And to really understand the tension of that environment, we need to look at the physical layout of the fans, because it's creating a very unique dynamic. Inside the Mercedes-Benz Stadium itself, authorities are anticipating a fairly even split. They're looking at about a 50-50 ratio between England and Argentina supporters in the seats. But the reality outside the stadium gates paints a completely different picture. While England has enjoyed this really fantastic, almost home-style support throughout much of their time in the United States, downtown Atlanta is expected to have a heavy Argentina majority. Why is that? Well, because there's a massive Argentine community living across the United States, particularly in nearby Florida, and thousands of people are expected to make the trip up to Georgia just to be part of the atmosphere. So before the game, and critically after the game, in those surrounding entertainment districts, Argentina fans could significantly outnumber England supporters. It completely changes how you have to manage the crowd. And honestly, that crowd control strategy is already being tested in real time. Officials are very much on edge right now due to some isolated incidents that occurred over the weekend. We've all seen the videos circulating widely on social media, and that footage has directly heightened the alert levels. I mean, one piece of footage literally showed an England fan exchanging punches with several men in Argentina shirts right inside a stadium concourse. Another clip captured Argentina supporters confronting England fans inside a local bar. Now, the authorities are very quick to note that these have been relatively isolated incidents so far. But here's the thing. The viral nature of social media means these videos amplify the hostility. They spread like wildfire. One video can make tens of thousands of fans feel paranoid or defensive. Officials are absolutely determined to ensure these little sparks don't ignite into a much larger fire during the actual semifinal. A history of tension, decades of rivalry off and on the pitch. So what does this all mean? Where does this heavy atmosphere come from? To understand it, we actually have to zoom out and look at the timeline. The roots of this tension date back to 1982, when things transcended sport entirely with the Falklands conflict. Argentina invaded the South Atlantic Islands, leading to a war where, tragically, 907 people lost their lives before Britain reestablished control. Now, it is absolutely crucial to state impartially that this remains a deeply sensitive geopolitical issue today. Argentina continues to claim sovereignty over the islands, while the United Kingdom firmly maintains its position that the Falklands are British territory. It's a profound national issue for both sides. And just 4 years after that conflict, in 1986, the two nations met in a famously fiery World Cup quarterfinal. And now, decades later, in this Atlanta semifinal, all of that historical weight is being channeled straight into the stadium. Now, if you think that 1982 conflict is just ancient history left in the textbooks, think again. The political tension has been thrust right back into the spotlight because of recent triggers during this very tournament. Argentina's own players were recently seen and clearly heard singing songs that specifically reference the Falkland Islands during their post-match celebrations. When the players themselves are invoking this geopolitical history, it instantly charges the atmosphere among the fans. It completely blurs the line between a sporting event and national pride. And that blur, that mix of politics and passion, is exactly what gives security officials sleepless nights. And then, of course, there is the purely sporting history. You simply cannot talk about England and Argentina without talking about 1986. That quarterfinal in Mexico gave birth to one of football's most fierce, enduring global rivalries. And it's largely due to one specific moment: the hand of God. Diego Maradona scored this infamous goal by illegally punching the ball past England's goalkeeper, Peter Shilton, which ultimately led to a 2-1 victory for Argentina. Now, Maradona followed it up literally minutes later with one of the greatest individual goals in the entire history of the sport. But that first, unpunished handball punch, that created a deep, visceral sense of sporting injustice for England fans. It's a grievance that has been passed down through generations. It's a sporting scar that hasn't fully healed. The security operation, preparing for the worst. So, knowing all this history, how do you even begin to secure this event? Well, let me tell you, this isn't just your standard local stadium security. We are looking at a massive interagency operation. Senior representatives from the FBI, top FIFA officials, and Atlanta law enforcement have been holding high-level, closed-door meetings this week to finalize their plans. But what's really fascinating here is the addition of the UK Football Policing Unit. A specialist team of British officers is actually on the ground in the United States right now. They are actively sharing highly specific intelligence regarding known supporter activity and coordinating crowd management strategies with their American counterparts. It is a massive, multinational intelligence operation designed to spot trouble before it even has a chance to start. On match day, this incredible security strategy breaks down into 3 major physical steps. Step 1, separate entry gates. England and Argentina fans will be directed to completely different entrances at Mercedes-Benz Stadium to avoid bottlenecks of rival fans outside. That makes sense, right? But Step 2 introduces a massive, massive challenge: unsegregated seating monitoring. Unlike domestic leagues where away fans have their own section, FIFA tournament rules do not segregate fans inside the bowl. Supporters will be sitting side by side. They'll be sharing the exact same concourses, the same bathrooms, the same food stands. Because of this, security will be heavily focused on monitoring those internal public spaces. Finally, Step 3 involves a very heavy perimeter defense. We're talking massive patrols guarding both team hotels and the official FIFA Fan Festival, where thousands of people will be gathered to watch the France versus Spain match. They have to lock down the whole shebang. Okay, let's take a deep breath and de-escalate the tension just a little bit here, because we need to look at recent fan behavior. And the data? It's actually incredibly revealing. During England's recent match against Norway, out of an estimated 30,000 England fans in attendance, there were a grand total of exactly 4 arrests. 4 out of 30,000 people. To put that into perspective, that's enough people to fill a small town, and only 4 crossed the line. 2 were for minor disturbances, 1 was for a ticketless entry attempt, and 1 was for a fan refusing to leave. The police actually went out of their way to describe the overall behavior of the supporters as exemplary. It is a fantastic track record. And right now, the authorities are heavily relying on both sets of fans, demonstrating this exact same level of respect and self-policing during the semifinal. Focus on the pitch, the human element. And the push for that respect, that de-escalation starts directly from the top. Argentina's manager, Lionel Scaloni, has issued a direct public plea. He said, and I quote, "The message to the Argentine people is that this is a soccer match. It is just a soccer match, nothing more than that." Scaloni is actively trying to bring the temperature down. He's directly asking his entire nation to leave the intense historical politics completely off the field. He just wants everyone to focus purely on the tactical battle against a really great opponent. It's a powerful statement from a leader who knows exactly how high the stakes are. And what's really amazing is that the exact same sentiment is echoing right out of the England camp simultaneously. England goalkeeper Jordan Pickford called this, quote, "an opportunity for 2 proud footballing nations to compete at the highest level." And he went out of his way to remind everyone that football has the unique ability to unite people despite fierce rivalries. Both camps are showing a completely unified front here. The players, the coaches, they share a unified goal. They don't want a political war. They want to play a football match, and they want the world to remember the incredible action that happens on the grass, not what happens in the stands. Which brings us to the ultimate unknown. With an unprecedented multinational security force in place, a seriously heavy, complex history between these two nations, and the players themselves begging for peace, will the focus actually remain purely on the pitch? The stage is beautifully set in Atlanta for what could be one of the most remarkable fixtures in recent memory. Thank you so much for joining me to break down the anatomy of this massive event. I really hope this structured look at the sources has given you a much clearer understanding of exactly what is at stake here. Keep your eyes on the pitch, enjoy the game, and I'll catch you on the next explainer.
Okay, one question for you. Do you think FIFA's decision to classify England vs Argentina as the highest risk World Cup match is justified? Or do you believe the historical rivalry is being overemphasized compared to the actual behavior of modern football fans? Don't forget to comment it. Thanks.